Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. I hope you're all doing well. Well, look like the ICE raids on Cubans is stepping up now. It's a mixture of some of the videos from the past and some recent ones that just came out. But yeah, they are getting heavily raided, after being big supporters, actually, very big supporters among the Hispanics. The Cubans really were out there during the election for Donald Trump. And, of course, now those same folks are turning on Donald Trump and wish they didn't vote for him. But, just like white people, you cannot take those votes back. It doesn't matter how many No Kings march you have or how many protests immigrants have in the streets. You can't undo it. So now everyone is subjected to live through this 4 years of hell that y'all put on us. So I don't know. How do you feel bad for a group of people that voted for their own demise? And to add insult to injury, Donald Trump was very upfront about mass deportations while he was on the campaign trail. Who did you think he was talking about? I mean, who did you think he was talking about? Unbelievable how some of y'all are just kind of slow here. So I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
De ser cubano, gitano, yo de la mano por el Porto, yo voy a votar. The world is watching.
Sonia Vichara fights back tears from the podium.
The rain that was here a couple of weeks ago, he has fungus in his feet.
A 63-year-old detainee, Rafael Colado from Cuba, over cell phone shares details about what he describes as horrible conditions inside the state-run detention facility in the Everglades, to include not showering for days. Yanesi Fernandez Silva says her 35-year-old son, Rafael, father of a 2-year-old daughter, has been transported to a South Florida hospital twice since being here, calling the medical services at this facility dangerously inadequate.
Immediately after the surgery, he's back in here.
This is for animals, she says, not people.
The mosquitoes are unbearable. He says they will not let you sleep. His wife says it's like he doesn't even exist, only knows that he's there because he's able to call her. Without access to attorneys, she says the family cannot fight his deportation order. He describes the detention center as torturous with lights on 24/7, so he has no idea when it's day or night, is only allowed to shower every 3 to 4 days, and is living with 32 other people, he says, in what he described as a cage.
The administration is essentially trying to ethnically cleanse the country of Latinos, of Haitians, because I'll tell you, when I was in that facility, I didn't see any, Europeans who've overstayed their visa or anything like that. It was all Latinos, all Haitian people, and nothing else.
This woman said she was forcibly separated from her American-born 2-year-old daughter.
Inmigración me maltrató y me obligó, me dobló el brazo para que diera la huella y salirse la niña.
People being hit on the head, kicked by guards. As he describes what happened, you hear this.
An alligator.
This man said he was picked up by U.S. authorities 3 months ago.
Sentado en un carro, esto es una confusión que no fui yo y al final de la jornada el abogado me dijo, échate la culpa, porque si no te meten un año.
This woman was separated from her son and 2 grandchildren.
No saben guiar el bus. A police stand like, go, you're garbage. Go back home. You don't deserve to be here.
This is what this country is showing me.
Hope your day gets better. Positive energy.
Breaking news, because this just happened a couple hours ago. The Supreme Court ruled, and it is going to allow Trump and his administration to strip the humanitarian parole of 500,000 people from 4 countries. The protection that was in place to keep them from being deported is being stripped, and it is going to result in at least 500,000 people being deported who come from 4 countries. Do you want to guess what one of those countries is? The very first one listed? Cuba. Donald Trump and his administration are revoking the protection of thousands of Cubans. Without that protection, those Cubans do not have legal asylum in the United States. And the Trump administration is going to deport thousands of Cubans and send them back to Cuba. They told you that Barack Obama was Fidel. They told you that Hillary Clinton was Fidel. They told you that Bernie Sanders was Fidel. They told you that Joe Biden was Fidel. They told you that Kamala Harris was Fidel. And you believed them. And now, Donald Trump, who needed your vote to get elected, is going to deport Cubans back to Cuba. Myself and others said this would happen, but I'm not here to say I told you so. I'm not here to celebrate this. My heart is broken. I'm a white boy, but I'm from Florida, and I have spent so much of my life around wonderful Cuban people. I have fallen in love with your food and your music and your culture. And then I watched a political party in my country weaponize very legitimate, real fears that you have and lie to you and tell you that if you didn't vote for them, what happened in Cuba would happen to you here. And you did. And now they're sending some of you back to that place because they only cared about your vote and they don't actually care about you.
El régimen de La Habana ha llegado a un acuerdo en aceptar vuelos con cubanos deportados, pero no cualquier cubano deportado y no desde cualquier sitio. Vamos a estarle explicando esto porque no es que haya un nuevo acuerdo entre el régimen cubano y las autoridades norteamericanas. Vamos a explicarle en lo que consiste estos nuevos acuerdos. Técnicamente no son nuevos acuerdos, pero este nuevo sí te voy a aceptar.
Okay, so a lot of Cubans that are being deported are not going back to Cuba. You know how Donald Trump took like Jamaicans and Mexicans and flew them to Africa? Well, they're doing the same thing to the Cubans. They're just throwing them in any nation that will take them. They don't care that they're not sending them back to Cuba. So he's doing the same thing to them that he's done to other people, shipping them off to other countries that is not the origin country that these folks came from. And you know, Donald Trump, he's just trying to get rid of you. He doesn't care how he gets rid of you. He just wants to get rid of you.
A los migrantes. Atención, el régimen cubano, según la agencia de noticias, está de acuerdo en aceptar vuelos con cubanos deportados, teniendo en cuenta el incremento en los cruces en la frontera. Repito, el régimen cubano ha estado de acuerdo en aceptar vuelos con deportados, teniendo en cuenta la situación en la frontera. Pero ¿quiénes son los migrantes que serían deportados en estos vuelos? Según la agencia Reuters, Cuba ha llegado por primera vez desde la pandemia, y yo voy más allá, ha llegado por...
Almost 50,000 Cubans from the Miami area in Florida are facing deportations. That's because thousands of those Cubans filed for political asylum and were granted political asylum, except they went back and visited their homeland of Cuba. Well, the big deal is that when you file for political asylum, you're declaring that your life is in danger in your home country. And by these Cubans going back to Cuba to visit, that means that the entire process of the political asylum was fraud. The application asked for political asylum seekers to give detail of why they can't go back to their country, why their lives are in danger in their homeland. And Cubans gave those statements that their life was in danger if they ever went back to Cuba. So going back to visit Cuba after you've been granted political asylum indicates that these Cubans have been granted political asylum based on false information. Now, it's no secret, Cubans played a huge role on the re-election of Donald Trump. And a lot of them feel let down by this administration because now they're being sent back home. So I'm going to ask all the Latino community, and I will do the same, to please hold a moment of silence for the thousands of Cubans who now are going to be forced to go back to the island.
So anyways, this privileged liberal Latina feminazi who has built a platform on hating men and conservative Latinos thought she ate with that. So what you're telling me is that these Cubans, because of the political arrangement that the United States has with Cuba, were privileged, because it is a privilege, to be able to seek political asylum and came to this country under a legal status of political refugee. But they manipulated the system, lied, broke the law, and now are having to face the consequences of their actions. Let me tell you something. Those type of Cubans are privileged to come to this country. And instead of loving, respecting, giving back, following the laws of this country that had given them a second chance at life, they try then to recreate the life they have back in Cuba, the barrio life, the scamming life to make a buck. And then, because of their degenerate mentality, all they know to do is get their necks full of gold and their hands full of gold and then go back to Cuba to flaunt to those poor Cubans that are left behind under poverty, misery, hunger, dictatorship, abuse from their own government. They don't care about those people. All they care is about flaunting how they're living now. I've been in this country for 23 years now. My migration story is a little different. I did not come as a political refugee. But I never once in 23 years has set foot back in the island. Not because I don't love it, not because I don't miss it, not because I don't have family there. I still have family there. My father is there, my two brothers are there, my younger brother has two sons, my nephews that I never met. But I did not leave that island to go back and disrespect the country that has given me a second chance at life, and disobey the laws of the country that has given me a second chance at life. When I was approved to come to this country, I had a choice to make, and that was to renounce my Cuban citizenship. And then this country gave me a citizenship, a new birth certificate. How privileged I am. Something that is denied to hundreds of thousands around the world, not just Cubans. So who am I to disobey the laws of this country and disrespect it? So yes, those of us, like myself, who voted this president in, are okay with these people being reprimanded for lying, and breaking the laws. And if deportation is what they have to face, you love that country so much that you have to go back every 6 months to a year, then how about you go back permanently?
Yes, Cubans are getting deported, but they are not getting deported back to Cuba. And these are not the Cubans who have entered the United States in the last few years. These are Cubans who have been in the U.S. since the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and at one point they were even lawful permanent residents. But because of their criminal history, they lost their immigration status and were ordered deported. But because of the political situation between the United States and Cuba, they were actually never deported to Cuba. And instead, they were placed on what's called order of supervision, where they typically go once a year for a quote-unquote check-in, and they meet with an ICE officer, and the ICE officer makes sure that they don't have any other crimes going on, and they're abiding by the terms of their check-in, and they're able to apply for a work authorization. Since Cubans were not accepted by Cuba to be deported, they have remained in the United States for decades under the order of supervision. But now, since the Trump administration is pushing hard this third country removals, Cubans are now being deported to various locations, including Mexico. You're seeing Cubans go to their ICE OSUP check-in appointment and be detained, and they're spending a few weeks in Chrome and then being transferred over to Texas. And then from Texas, they're being placed on a bus and then deported to the southern part of Mexico. Shame, because I think if ICE had told them what the plan was, these people could at least prepare for it. But sadly, they have absolutely no idea that this is even coming to them. And now they've been in the U.S. for 50, 60 years with relatives and businesses and families and ties to the U.S. and just being dropped off in another country with no ID, no money, and no resources.
Being from Miami, I don't know how to feel about Cubans being in their find out era, because they took over Miami, and it was to the point where you couldn't even find a job unless you spoke Spanish. And even if you spoke Spanish and you wasn't Cuban, you wasn't getting that job. And I give them a lot of credit, because before their family or friends would leave Cuba, they would already have a job, a car, and a place to stay by the time they reached Miami. Like, they really set up their people very, very well. They even had a wet foot, dry foot policy. Where they messed up at was thinking that they thought becoming a Republican was going to make them turn. And the whole time they're speaking Spanish. And a majority of them didn't even bother to learn English, but yet they thought they were. And my main question is, what is the difference between Fidel Castro and 45? Until then,
this message is for Cubanos for Trump. Took away your parole program. Cubans, Nicaraguans, Venezuelans, and Haitians. He just took it away from you. We are officially in fuck around and find out season. Welcome to episode 1.
Did you know that Cuban deportees, especially the ones that are political dissidents and the ones seeking asylum in the U.S., face a significant risk of torture when they come back to Cuba? So when we ask ourselves, when will Latinos for Trump open their eyes, specifically the Cuban ones? The answer is they never will. And there's no better example than the Cuban for Trump than El Funky. He's a Cuban rapper that's currently facing deportation and possible imprisonment in Cuba since his music helped fuel anti-government protests in Cuba. Someone that's been really silent about this case is self-hating Marco Rubio, a Cuban himself. It's a perfect illustration of how much Marco Rubio has changed up during the Trump presidency. Even just a year ago, I'm sure Marco Rubio would have been the loudest person about this case. It's also a crazy example of how much Trump has changed up about Cuban immigration policies. For decades, the U.S. has rolled out the red carpet for Cubans, despite Trump refusing to help these Cubans who have overwhelmingly voted for him. They are still very much pro-Trump, including
including the rapper El Funky. Talk about fucking around and never finding out.
The Cuban MAGA supporters who once shouted the loudest for Trump are now having a serious wake-up call. For years, they waved those flags, wore the red hat, sang the whole song, and told everyone Trump was the man who will protect and freedom, right, and family values. They look down on other Latino groups, especially Black folks, saying, we are not like them. We came here the right way. But now that their immigration status is being cancelled and deportation are back on the rise, suddenly it's quiet. Now they are realizing maybe, just maybe, they should have listened when Black folks tried to warn them. Let's be real. A lot of Cuban Americans in places like Miami jumped on the Trump train because they were sold the dream of patriotism, anti-socialism, and business opportunity. Trump knew exactly how to play that card. He used the word socialism like a magic trick.
Almost 50,000 Cubans from the Miami area in Florida are facing deportations. That's because thousands of those Cubans filed for political asylum and were granted political asylum, except they went back and visited their homeland of Cuba. Well, the big deal is that when you file for political asylum, you're declaring that your life is in danger in your home country. And by these Cubans going back to Cuba to visit, that means that the entire process of the political asylum was fraud. The application asked for political asylum seekers to give detail of why they can't go back to their country, why their lives are in danger in their homeland. And Cubans gave those statements that their life was in danger if they ever went back to Cuba. So going back to visit Cuba after you've been granted political asylum indicates that these Cubans have been granted political asylum based on false information. Now, it's no secret, Cubans played a huge role on the re-election of Donald Trump. And a lot of them feel let down by this administration because now they're being sent back home. So I'm going to ask all the Latino community, and I will do the same, to please hold a moment of silence for the thousands of Cubans who now are going to be forced to go back to the island. So anyway,
for Donald Trump. He been snatching all y'all kids from y'all. For Donald Trump. He got white people kidnapping y'all.
Who's that dude who was dancing? You know him? Because he didn't have to do his mouth like that. He don't got no pee on Trump. Send him a nomination, would you? Y'all are a hot mess. Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Week, where we explore the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Today's nominee.
I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote. Raise your hands, come on. For Donald Trump. Dale cintura, 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 cintura. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Oh no, we gonna get there. No, we gonna get there. Let's take it back to the beginning. Here I am, minding my own black business.
Do you remember that Cuban band that sang that song, I Will Vote for Donald Trump? I was wondering what happened to them. And so I did a bit of research, and I came across something I thought all of you would find very interesting indeed. Hold on a minute. Let me get it for you, okay? And when you're done watching it, jump in my comments and tell me what you think. I really want to know.
Una injusticia, una grande injusticia.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
No, you didn't do some research. Talking about she did some research. That's like the kids out here taking credit for Chat GPT. I did some research. No. You saw the same thing that all the rest of us saw. Vote Trump singer left in tears after ICE detained her husband in Miami. Now, far be it for me to
So I heard in the news yesterday that a lot of Cuban Americans who are Trump supporters are soon going to be able to order their Cuban sandwiches in Cuba. I'm jelly.
That was too far. That was too far. You leave the Cubanos out of this. Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Now, you guys remember the video I just posted about the Latino community coming for Venezuelans in the wake of losing their TPS protections.
Press conference in Doral Monday, Venezuelan Americans denounced the Trump administration and South Florida Republicans.
We will vote. Raise your hands, come on. For Donald Trump. Hey.
I mean, you didn't have to dance. Well, you remember how I ended that video. I told the Cubans to stop dancing because I would be back around for them. You thought you were slick. You thought you were just going to jump on the Donald Trump pile? Nah, man. We ain't forgot. And by the way, Cubans, y'all better stop dancing over there. Because I done addressed Marco Rubio and how he moving with respect to y'all before. We'll be back around here again. Yeah, with good reason. In fact, you might recall the woman who opened that particular video.
And they didn't blame Trump at all for him lifting the TPS, talking about it was unlawful. So how are you feeling? How you feeling? Because tú votaste por Trump, right? Tú dijiste, este es mi hombre. Este es mi hombre. He hates you. He hates you. Y no lo entiende, ¿la? Él no te amas. He looks at you as less than a person. So here we are, in which TPS is no longer like a really illegal option. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but now a lot of Venezuelans are going to have to leave. Thank you to all those Trumper Venezuelans.
Some of them videos were funny. So anyway, y'all, I thought we would end on a lighter note. Some of the previous live streams were a lot more politically harsh. So this one is a lot lighter. So y'all, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoy these times together. So enjoy your night. Sleep well, because we're going to do this all over again tomorrow. Oh, yeah, they put this song out. They are never going to live it down. They are never going to live it down singing that song. So, y'all, have a wonderful night. Shalom.